Hi, thanks for joining me. Welcome back to the channel. So today is going to be quite a different video, just a short one, and I'm not specifically talking about any particular LP or music, but I am talking about my entire collection of LPs, and more specifically how I store them, or more specifically still how I store them now, because regular viewers, keen eagle-eyed viewers, will maybe have noticed over my shoulder here that I've actually invested in some new record racks recently, a couple of months ago, and I just wanted to do a little video here to talk about record storage and the various solutions I've used, and why and how I have now settled on using a bespoke solution of the quality of an absolutely top international designer. So I'm going to start off by going back to sort of 2000, 2007. That period there I used Ikea's Bonde storage, which was the sort of forerunner of Kallax, which is very popular these days. The thing about the Bonde storage was they were actually more suited to LP storage than the Kallax, because Kallax is actually about 2 or 3 inches too deep. I do actually use Kallax, and I have 6 shelves high by 4 shelves wide, and this is my sort of backup tape storage, if you like. So there's 4 by 6, 24 feet or thereabouts of tape storage, and whilst it's an incredibly cost-effective option, it isn't the strongest option that there is, and it's kind of, you know, it's not the ideal solution. And what I wanted was something really neat, really tidy, because I don't have a man cave. My wife shares the space with me. It is in our, our living space, and it was getting incredibly untidy, as you can see here, with my previous record racks spilling over onto the floor. And at this point, I'll talk a little about what these racks are. So, in 2007, I actually had a flood, which I managed to move all my records out of. Didn't get any hi-fi or any records damaged, but of course the Ikea Bonde record racks got soaked, and of course they're chipboard basically, and it swells up and loses all of its strength, so they had to go. So what I replaced those with back then was I went to a company called Deconomix. It's very solid, it's very strong, it's made with MDF, and this is sort of CNC machined, so a significant sort of upgrade from the Kallax. And this has seen me good for, what are we now, 2025, 07, so we're talking 18 years of use I had out of the Deconomix, which I've subsequently sold on to someone, and they'll continue hopefully to get many years of good use out of it. So this was good stuff, but it was built specifically to fit into a previous house, so it didn't fit perfectly into the space that I have available, and I just needed to make better use of the space. So finally, the third option that was considered was a UK company called Jali, Jali, who I've used here. You can see here, this is my tape shelving, which is on the opposite wall, opposite the LP shelving. And this is really nice and neat and tidy and suits the living space, but it's not, I designed this optimized for tapes. It's not optimized for LPs. I looked at doing it for LP storage, and it began to work out really quite expensive, and with the amount of money it would have cost, I just thought, if I'm spending that much, I want a real pucker, the optimum job, so to speak. And that's when a friend of mine introduced me to John Bradley at Fairwood Projects. Now, Fairwood Projects are based in Wiltshire, so not too far away. And I think from around the late 90s, 2000s, John's main work was doing all of the shop fitting, the interior shelving units and everything for the Ted Baker fashion designer shop, and all around the world at that. Basically, he was Ted Baker's man for shop fitting, interior design, construction all around the world. And that kind of struck me as the kind of guy that I want to go to, because obviously his fit and finish and the practicality has to be absolutely spot on for a situation like that. So I contacted John. He popped over and measured up and chatted through his initial options. And basically he has designed a unit which fits the space absolutely perfectly. It's incredibly strongly built using, I think it's called moisture resistant MDF. It's kind of looks a bit like a licorice all sort. You've got regular coloured MDF on the faces, and then there's a core, a central core, which is by far the bulk of the material, and that's kind of got a greeny tinge to it, but it is much harder and much more dense and much stronger than regular MDF. And John's workshop is completely fitted out with computer controlled machinery, and he was able to design and build this. So with two colleagues in one day installed it, and it looks absolutely amazing. Now I'm going to just take you on a little bit of a description of the process and show you. I went to visit John's workshop while the thing was being made, and here you can see the moisture resistant MDF. You can kind of see that green core, and the quality of the machining that you can get on that is much better than regular MDF. But even that isn't good enough, because on the edge cuts he's actually fitted tiny slivers of MDF, which is glued on in this, you know, high-end machine, just to make sure that you get absolutely nice edges to the shelves. So all sort of external edge sections, if you like, are treated with this, and you can see that here. And then obviously it was all sanded down, and they have their own high quality paint shop. So again, the beauty of this is I was able to choose the exact colour I wanted. So I actually chose the colour that Jali used for the tape shelving opposite, because it's in the same room. And I think it was 3 or 4 coats of paint, obviously sanded down in between, that they apply until they get the quality of finish they want. And then the thing was left to cure for a few days. And then the 3 guys turned up to install. And again, I'm going to show you through a few sort of photos and little video clips of the installation, just so you can see how the component parts go together. So first of all, here we've got the sub base, and you can see this is from 25mm moisture resistant MDF, and it is incredibly strong and solid. And you can see here, I think is there 8 or 10 leveling points. They're right away across the thing, enabling them to absolutely level it to my floor, which I have to say isn't absolutely level and flat, which is quite normal, of course. But what they did is they leveled this sub base, and then they fitted the front plinth to that, but having cut that absolutely to match the floor. There is not a gap at one end or the other, or in the middle, or anywhere like that. It just absolutely fits the floor. But the weight is taken, it's not even taken by those adjustable feet, it's taken by these wedges, which they fit in once they've adjusted the base with the feet. And then once that's in position, then from there they can just construct the actual shelf unit. First of all the base, and then one of the end panels, and then a rear panel, a centre panel, divider, rear panel divider, rear panel divider, and so on and so forth, until, as you can see, the shelf unit is kind of finished, and then they'll fit in the individual shelves for the records. And all of these things, they're using these really high quality hidden brackets which have been machined into this moisture resistant MDF. So the whole thing is incredibly rigid, incredibly solid. It doesn't creak, it doesn't wobble, it is just absolutely solid as a rock, and more than able to take the weight of all the records that are on it. And I think you can see here, if we just look at the overall finished thing, it looks incredibly smart. It really fits the space beautifully. And whilst it, it cost a lot more than Kallax, it definitely didn't cost a lot more than other sort of more bespoke furniture options. The build quality, the fit and finish and precision of this, the solidity of it is absolutely second to none. And I think it's the absolute perfect solution for my situation. So hats off to John Bradley. I will leave a link in the description below to Fairwood Projects, his website. Please do check them out, and I hope you found this video interesting and useful. Thanks very much for watching, and I will see you all again soon. Bye now.